The Texas Rangers are red hot, winning 4 straight, including a 5-4 victory in the series opener at the Trop last night. Tonight, Rays rookie right-hander Nathan Carnes looks to put an end to the Rangers' streak and get the Rays back on the winning track. There's no place like home for the Rays at Tropicana Field, and yet last night, opening an 8-game homestand, they fell behind early 5-0. Could not recover and dropped game 1 of the series to the Texas Rangers 5-4. And so tonight, game 2. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. Dwayne Stats, great to have you aboard. Well, after winning 2 out of 3 at Boston, the Rays dropping the first game of this stand last night, and they did it without Evan Longoria. Evan with flu-like symptoms. He had a fever, but the night before, his bat was hot in Boston when he belted 2 home runs, and that hot bat's in the lineup tonight.
Well, yeah, and you know they wanted him in there last night, not able to do so, but you're right, he comes back in to the ball game here tonight against the Rangers. His last start in Boston, he reached base safely in 4 out of 5 plate appearances, and of course, the 2 big blasts is what we're here to talk about. The home run off the breaking ball, Justin Masterson, this is the one that gets your attention. The way that he threw his hands through the zone right there, that bat speed was back, and that ball was absolutely blasted. When you look at Evan Longoria, the key for him mechanically as a hitter, stay tall and throw your hands. He did that home run off of Gondo. Let's see if he can do it here tonight.
Yeah, a hot Evan Longoria in the middle of the lineup would go a long way toward revitalizing the Rays offense. There is news about Alex Cobb and that right elbow, and it's not all that good. But at least there's a game plan now, and Todd Callis will have more on that when we return.
Wednesday starter would be Alex Cobb as we get ready for baseball between the Rays and the Rangers from Tropicana Field. That all changed on an afternoon in Clearwater, Florida at Bright House Networks Field as the Phillies took on the Tampa Bay Rays, and Alex Cobb felt some discomfort. As it turns out, it would be a forearm strain. He would be shut down. Forearm strain turned into something more as Alex Cobb, as we learned today, will have Tommy John surgery. He's going to see Dr. James Andrews on Wednesday. The surgery expected on Thursday. With the rehabilitation, hopes to pitch sometime late next season, maybe when the rosters expand in September. That would be a nice goal. Here's Cobb about the very difficult decision he had to make in the last 24 hours.
I felt like it's probably the best decision to go ahead and get the surgery done. You know, it was a tough decision because you want to hold on to every last hope of being able to pitch this year and contribute. But, you know, I think not only for my own future, but, you know, going into next season and contributing for the team next year, better not to waste any more time. Just go ahead and do it.
Well, shortly after Cobb talked, he watched his buddy Matt Moore throw another live bullpen session, so he'll lean heavily on number 55 in terms of what he has to do to come back from Tommy John surgery. We're ready for baseball. It's the Rays and the Rangers on a Friday night. Wayne Stats and Brian Anderson with all the action next.
Last night it was Chris Archer on the mound, and tonight the big right-hander Nathan Carnes trots to the hill, looking to even this series with the Texas Rangers at a game apiece, making his 7th start of the season. Here's the lineup he will be facing, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. SHIN-SOO CHOO will lead it off again for Texas, followed by ELVIS, ANDRUS, and Prince Fielder. ADRIAN BELTRE, the cleanup man, in front of Kyle Blanks. In left field, hitting 6, Carlos Pagaro. Carlos Corporan is behind the plate. Number 8 hitter is Adam Rosales at second. Delino DeShields is in center field, batting 9th.
Taking them out tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Nathan Carnes, already making his 7th great start of the season. The record even 1-1, ERA just over 4 at 4.05. And I'll tell you what, how about that opponent's average of 181? That is good for third in the American League. And he is coming off a very strong outing against the Baltimore Orioles. Just 5 innings, but 2 hits, no earned runs to go along with 4 strikeouts. Pitch count was under control. He is raring to go tonight.
And he faces CHOO, who's about to step in. After a slow April, that bat has started to come around a bit, but he's still hitting just 159. And the first pitch of this game is upstairs. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. An opening fastball, 1-0 the count.
Well, this Texas Ranger team put SHIN-SOO back in the leadoff spot 4 games ago, and they have not lost. The beginning of this road trip for them.
Well, he started to see some life. He was hitting .096 at the end of April.
Hard to believe, too. When you've watched SHIN-SOO over the years, tremendous on-base guy, and the reason he is because he's got great strike zone discipline. Can hit, use the whole field, looks to pull first, will go the other way late. Tough to keep those kind of guys down.
Look at Jeff Bannister there, right next to Dave Magadan. Bannister, the new manager this year with the Texas Rangers. CHOO is out on strikes.
Well, let's take a look at the Rays defense as it lines up tonight behind Nathan Carnes. In the outfield, left to right, we have David DeJesus, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Jake Elmore, Asdrubal Cabrera, Tim Beckham, and James Loney. Rene Rivera back behind the plate.
Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. And the pitch is a strike. Andrus had a base hit, drove in a couple of runs in the 4-run second last night. Curveball misses for ball 1. It's 1-1. Balls and a strike. Shot to center, but Kiermaier has that one in line and makes his catch. 2 up and 2 down. A viewing big matchup. Prince Fielder carries a 7-game hitting streak and an overall average of 342. 370 for the life of the streak. Fouled out of play.
Well, he's going to have to come to the plate, so might as well have him come up with nobody on. Good work by Nathan Carnes to make that happen. And you can see he has been hitting away all season long. Still looking for that power to come around with just 2 home runs. But, you know, it's just under the surface.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fielder last year missed 120 games because of surgery on his neck, herniated disc. So the Rangers, with Fielder healthy, he's hitting, and they know that sooner or later that big power will again emerge. Look out. It shot through the middle, and it deflects into center field. How that got through Carnes without a major injury, I don't know.
I'm going to tell you something. That ball was hit so hard by Prince Fielder. If that catches Nathan Carnes in the shin, he's not getting up. I mean, thank goodness that ball just grazed off the leg. This was an absolute rocket.
Well, that was so hot past Carnes that even Cabrera could not handle it.
Well, there was a little misdirection there, a little almost off the side of the calf. Just move that ball a little bit.
Now here's BELTRE. ADRIAN BELTRE.
I should say redirection. But that ball was absolutely powdered.
So 2 out, hot shot single through the middle by Fielder. BELTRE fouls it out of play. 104.7, we're getting word, off Fielder's bat, right back through the middle.
And this is after a pitcher delivers the ball to the plate, so he's not 60 feet 6 inches away. He's 54, 55 in that range, and almost 105 miles an hour straight off the shin. Not a good combination.
There's just no time for reacting at all.
You can't even get a glove up or down.
You're talking fraction of seconds.
Yep. Well, that's the job ultimately that you sign up for. You understand that that's part of it.
This is the job we have chosen. 2 strikes the count to BELTRE. Into the dirt. Nice block by Rivera. The pitch well out in front. We're calculating that through numbers of frames. About 11 frames. And it's just under a third of a second.
A third of a second.
A third.
Wow.
And our guys are so good in the truck, they didn't even use a calculator. They did it, the math in their heads.
Carry the 1/3.
That's how good they are.
Well.
Fielder at first. 1-2 on ADRIAN BELTRE. And that's blocked. Another curveball in the dirt. So ahead in the count, Carnes has gone to that curveball with a couple well off the plate against BELTRE.
Well, Nathan Carnes, he likes that curveball, and he's got a good one. A lot of depth on it. He throws that pitch very, very hard, and sometimes you hold on to it just a split second too long, and that's where you get those spiking out in front of the plate.
Lifted into right. SOUZA Jr. is there to make the catch on a 2-2 fastball. So we'll go to the bottom of the first. No score. And Kevin Kiermaier in that leadoff spot. go to the Rays half of inning 1 here at the Trop tonight. Lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers, and there's Kevin Kiermaier set to lead off. Steven Souza Jr. and James Loney. Evan Longoria, the DH and cleanup hitter, in front of David DeJesus and Tim Beckham. Cabrera, Elmore, and Rivera, 7, 8, and 9. First pitch foul right back into the screen from Gallardo.
Giovanni Gallardo trying to stop a streak of 3 straight losses his last 3 starts.
And to left, Figueroa's there, and he makes the catch.
Well, let's take a look at that Texas Ranger defense as it lines up behind Gallardo. In the outfield left to right, we have Carlos Figueroa, Delino DeShields, and SHIN-SOO CHOO across the infield. Third diverse, ADRIAN BELTRE, ELVIS ANDRUS, Adam Rosales, and Kyle Blanks. Carlos CORPORAN will be behind the plate.
Steven Souza Jr. comes out swinging and fouls that first pitch, which is not unusual.
As he so often does. I'll tell you, he goes up there. You talk about ready to hit. If it's close, Souza Jr. is going to take a rip.
Check swing, and that's a foul ball back at first. 0-2.
Well, Gallardo trying to almost reinvent himself as a pitcher. He was more of a power guy. You know, he had a streak of 4 straight seasons of 200+ strikeouts. Now more of a pitch to contact guy.
Yeah, that fastball, well, you see that one at 89. That's about where he is now. 89, sometimes 90. 217 major league starts.
As you see by the record right there, a good idea of how to pitch to win at 91 and 68 over the course of his career. Is in a losing streak right now.
Ground ball. Andrus, the shortstop. So 2 up and 2 down. Gallardo was born in Mexico but grew up in Fort Worth. Went to high school in Fort Worth. In fact, you talk about a young pitcher with a big arm. He pitched a game in high school when he struck out 25. It was an 11 inning game, had 25 strikeouts in 11 innings, and made 148 pitches his senior year in high school. A lot to be said about that from a lot of angles.
I mean, really, that kind of a workload on a high school pitcher.
Yep.
Wow.
He was all set to attend TCU, and the Milwaukee Brewers drafted him, and he signed and went pro.
He'd used up all his TCU pitches in that game. Might as well turn pro.
Yep. I mean, that's unbelievable. A senior in high school, 148 pitches in a game.
11 innings.
Yep.
But you know what? With 25 strikeouts, he certainly wasn't losing his effectiveness. He was able to maintain his stuff. That was the biggest selling, biggest selling point.
Stuff.
Right. Maintains his stuff. Tremendous stamina. We need to draft this kid. Well, it worked out. It won a lot of games for him.
Upstairs to Loney, 2-2. Loney with more at bats against Gallardo than any other Rays hitter. He's 5 of 17 against him with a double. Ground ball back to the mound this time. Do it for the Rays in the first. On to inning 2. No score. Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Checkers. Get Checkers Authentic Philly Cheesesteak or try the new Meatball Sub. Pick yours. 2 for $5. At the Trop tonight, Nathan Carnes on the mound for the Rays. He'll face Kyle Blanks, the first baseman, to lead off. This pitch strike, curveball to start the big right-handed hitter. Blanks 6'6" up there.
Just makes for a bigger strike zone. That's what Nathan Carnes is thinking.
1-1. How about Carnes? And we touched on this the last time. He threw the ball extremely well, and after getting through that outing, we looked at his body of work this year. Those 2 innings at the start of the year against Baltimore, when he gave up a number of runs, and since then, starting this game, if you eliminated those, his earned run average would be 259.
That was Baltimore. You know, he started the second game of the season. He gave up 6 runs in the first 2 innings and then settled down from there, 3 2/3 scoreless after that. And really, like you said, since then, I mean, he's been a different pitcher and at times just dominant.
So coming into this game, he carried a 405 earned run average overall, and with the scoreless inning in the first, it's dipped under 4 now, 393. But the true reflection of his work really comes after those 2 innings and what he's done, and it's been very good. There's a long one down the left side, going to be foul. And Blanks will step back in there again. Blanks, at one time in the San Diego Padres organization, as you look at Pagaro on deck, and the Padres had high hopes for him. Spent last year split between San Diego and Oakland, and he is out on strikes, put out by this throw from Rivera to Loney. So after that long foul ball on a fastball, a strikeout on the curveball.
Well, this is Nathan Carnes, his last 2 outings, covering just 9 2/3 innings, but look at the work that he's done. He's done the most with what he's been given. Just 5 hits given up, 1 earned run to go along with 9 strikeouts. You know, one area that he continue to work on, and he will, is the walks. Better the last 2 than the previous number of starts, but Nathan Carnes has shown that ability to be able to go out and dominate for long stretches.
Carlos Pagaro looks at the curveball, a little wide, stayed out there, 1-0. Cut and a miss. Well, you put Blanks and Pagaro back to back. I mean, 2 big guys, as we mentioned. Blanks 6'6", Pagaro 6'5". So a lot of strike zone and a lot of power, and with that, he shortens on the bat a little. Of course, it's 2-1 now.
And you know what? As a pitcher, though, you'll take that. If you want to, I know what you're capable of doing as far as driving ball. If you want to shorten on the bat and take a chance on beating out an infield hit, by all means, go for it.
It's a 3-1 count. Carnes got the first 2 in the first inning, and then gave up that hot shot base hit up the middle by Prince Fielder. 3-1 to Pagaro. There's a big cut. No question about what was on Pagaro's mind.
Well, anytime a hitter gets into that count, he's looking to do damage for the most part. And he just gets really big and long with his swing. The hands dip, and the fastball with a little elevation beats him.
That's ball 4. Fastball wide. 1 out walk.
Catcher, number 3, Carlos Corporal.
Carlos Corporan, a switch hitting catcher. His way to the plate. .206 average for Corporan. Laid on the fastball for a strike. Rays start tonight running second in the American League East, 3 games back of New York. Texas third in the West, 6.5 behind Houston. Fouled away. Two strikes the count. Pagaro had bluffed to start off first.
Opposing teams 2 for 2 stolen bases off Nathan Carnes, and that's at this point almost 35 innings of work. Not a bad ratio.
Upstairs. It's 1-2. Strike. Caught the zone. Inside part of the plate and down. Paul Nart calling the balls and strikes, and he liked this one.
Well, this is caught outside of the body of Rene Rivera, who is set up away, but still over the plate. And Paul Nart's got a very good look at it right underneath him. And he says that ball's over the plate. That's high enough. Strike 3.
Adam Rosales. You have to believe that Corporan's thinking, of course, he's not really sure where the catcher's set up.
Right.
When he looked at that, he thought it might have been out of the zone on its own merits, but it was a good pitch.
It was, and he's going to say, listen, if they get it, so do we.
Gonzalez lays off that first pitch breaking ball.
I think what ends up happening in that situation is so often pitchers look to finish you middle away when they're ahead. And so I think Corporan is looking out over the plate, and all of a sudden this is down and in, and to him that's too far in. His gaze was away from that.
2-0. As mentioned, Gallardo went to high school in Fort Worth, and Nathan Carnes went to school in Arlington, Texas. High school, James Martin High School. Fly ball deep to center. Kiermaier not quite to the track, makes the catch. Walk and a man left, and we're headed into the bottom of the second inning with no score. Evan Longoria will lead off. Evan Longoria, who missed last night's game under the weather, in there is the cleanup hitter and the DH tonight. First pitch is a strike down around the knees. See a lot of pitches in that general location from Gallardo. 1-1.
Well, that goes back to that fastball that you were talking about. Not where it used to be as far as velocity goes. So now that down and away pitch to the right-handed hitter and to the lefty for that matter, that's his money pitch.
Well, his ground ball percentage over the last couple of years topping the 50% mark. That gives you an idea of how that transition is going.
And he's well over 2-to-1 this year. And like you said, in the last few years, the ground balls working down in the zone, more of a priority. The strikeouts have come down, pitching more to contact, looking to use his defense.
Lifted toward right center. CHOO cutting across and making the grab. One away.
And I got to tell you, you got to tip your hat to pitchers that are able to do that seamlessly, because you're a power pitcher in high school, you're blowing people away. 25 strikeouts in 11 innings. The big leagues, we talked about 4 straight seasons from 09 to 2012, 200 plus strikeouts. You know, you're probably thinking to yourself, strike out an inning guy, a power guy. And then to make that transition and to be able to swallow a little bit of that pride and say, listen, I can't blow people away anymore. I got to find out a different way to get them out, and be able to do that. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, because he's still the all-time strikeout leader in Milwaukee Brewers history.
How about that? How about that?
1-0 the count on David DeJesus. There's a strike. DeJesus has 4 hits off Gallardo in 14 career at-bats, including a home run and 2 doubles. So he's certainly in there, hitting 5th for the Rays tonight against Gallardo. 2-1.
And by the way, that last pitch, Gallardo's changeup, very little difference between the fastball and the changeup. Changeup almost resembling a 2-seam fastball. He'll also cut it at some point. He'll take a little bit off that, make the break bigger. It'll look like a slider.
High shot deep into right center. That ball will carry out of here. Home run for David DeJesus, and the Rays lead 1-0. David DeJesus put a charge into that one. His 2nd career home run off Gallardo, and his 2nd of the season.
Right into the briar patch, down and in to a left-handed hitter. And David DeJesus, great shot there on Phantom Cam of getting underneath and creating that backspin.
That's a different kind of backspin.
Almost.
Tim Beckham misses the breaking ball. Strike 1.
You know, that's a tough play out there with the fan. You know, you're out there. It's not a batting practice home run. This is the real deal, baby. Yeah. And I'm lined up. I brought my glove. I'm in the right position. I extend, and I whiff, and I go down.
Well, the seats limit your range. Do you think charging into foul territory down near the bullpen, trying to run over the bullpen mound to make a play? There's nowhere to go there.
But I think that he thought that it was a can of corn and that he had it measured up. And then realized there was a little extra carry. Like you said, nowhere for him to go. He reaches and as best he can, and it's over, Johnny. Got it.
There you go.
I think there was a little left too. Might have been the shoe choice limited him.
Well, a great effort
And some airtime.
Yeah. And
that never hurts.
And if people are smiling and laughing, it can't be all bad.
No.
2-2 now to Beckham.
As long as they're laughing with you.
Yes. Ground ball. Rosales at second base, and he throws out Beckham. So 2 gone. Rays with an early lead on the David DeJesus home run. DeJesus, his other home run in the series with the Marlins in Miami back in the middle of April. There's Cabrera fighting off the fastball and fouling it. Strike one. It's the 5th home run given up by Gallardo, and this is his 7th start. Curveball fouled, 0-2. It's a ball and 2 strikes. 2 gone here in the bottom of the 2nd. And if you were with us earlier, you heard the news on Alex Cobb. We'll be chatting briefly with Alex next inning. Pop fly short right. CHOO in a hurry, gets there, and on the slide makes the catch. Well, the Rays get a run on the home run by David DeJesus. We're at the end of 2, and the Rays are out in front, 1-0. The Shields will lead off for Texas against Nathan Carnes, and Alex Cobb good enough to join us here for a few moments in the 3rd. And Alex, first, we just want to say that we've come to respect your competitive approach, the intelligent approach you take to this game, and want you to know that just doing this back and forth with us, something that we appreciate, and it really reflects the makeup of who you are at a very difficult time that you're facing, and so we really appreciate it. Having said that, this thing has gone on for a while, dating back to about the 3rd week in March. At what point in this whole process did you start to think this might be something as serious as it's turned out to be?
Yeah, I mean, once I got the news originally on March 17th that it was just tendonitis after my first MRI, I was, obviously relieved, and I didn't want to think it was anything else, and so I continued on the rehab path, and everything was going great. It was, going slower than I would have liked, but it was progressing in the right direction day to day, and then I finally got to the point where I was able to throw some bullpens, and I threw 2 bullpens that went really well. It became time to start throwing breaking balls, and I was letting it go like I would in the middle of the season with breaking stuff and changeups and everything like that, and try to get on the mound the next day. The last bullpen before I was going to go into live VPs, and it started grabbing pretty hard. So I think at that moment, because the last thing I wanted to do was come off the mound that day, and I had to shut it down. So I think I even talked myself into realizing that there's probably something a little more going on there than we originally thought.
Hey, Alex, this news obviously difficult for you to digest, and the decision not very fun to make, but is this a situation where now there's a sense of closure, now there's a plan in place, and you know exactly what's out in front of you, even though that's not what you wanted? There's a plan, and now you go attack it. Yeah,
I mean, I think, like you said, as competitors, we want to know the path that we're being challenged on, and the path that we have to defeat and conquer. So, it's unfortunate that I'm on this path, but you know what? The reality of it is throughout a major league career, you're going to have your difficulties that you're going to face, and there's never a good time for it. I'm going through it right now. Unfortunately, I've also had a lot of other moments that I've had to be on the DL that I've had to go on those paths, and it's never good. It's never enjoyable time to be on the DL, and this one's going to be a pretty lengthy one. So it's going to be hard, but my mindset is going in one direction, and that's to get healthy again and hopefully help this team win next year.
Yeah. Alex, it's really early to speculate on this, but do you have a goal as to when you would like to be back and be able to help the club, as you mentioned?
Well, I think you have to be smart with that goal. I think as a competitor, you want to be the quickest ever to come back from Tommy John surgery, but that's not a smart mindset to have going into it. We've had so many guys, as been documented, that have had this surgery, and the map is kind of laid out in front of us for where we need to, what path we need to go down. And it seems 14 months is give or take a month or two of where we're going to end up. So you take a year away from the day I'm going to have the surgery, and you'll kind of be able to map it out from there. But I'm not gonna set a goal. I'm not gonna do anything like that. I'm gonna listen to what my elbow says, and hopefully we'll not have any setbacks due to that.
Yeah, you've got a long way to go and a long career ahead of you, and there's no reason to rush things now.
Right.
No, that's how you end up in the broadcast booth. You want to keep pitching. Now, is there a schedule in place when this surgery is going to happen, sooner rather than later, and get going? How's that going to work?
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to get in to see Dr. Andrews Wednesday morning, do some pre-op stuff, and then hopefully Thursday I'll be able to, get the procedure done and maybe be out of there by the weekend, and then begin the process.
Yeah. Well, Alex, we certainly appreciate you taking the time, and I think you're right. The sooner the process starts, the better. We'll look forward to your return, and we know that you're not going to push that. You're going to be ready when you get out there and let time take care of that, and then continue what will be continue to be a great career for you.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, Alex Cobb with us here, wishing him all the best, and really under the circumstances, an extraordinary gesture there just to spend some time with us and explain to us and the fans across the region and the country, for that matter, exactly what's going on.
Having gone through that process twice, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't imagine wanting to do that. You know, maybe there's an obligation there. You know, he handles it like a pro, like everything else. But I think that the relief that there's now something there. You know, the unknown, the waiting, the trying to rehab, it doesn't feel right. Now you know.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do about it except now attack the rehab in a week from now. I think that's taking a load off his mind.
Oh, a great stop there. Cabrera out at second and safe at first. Andrus took the curveball, hit it on the ground, and Cabrera turned it into a force play on CHOO at second. Nicely done as Andrus reaches on a fielder's choice.
Boy, he's been as sure-handed as any shortstop in the game, and a little flare right there, the dive, trying to start that double play. You got to be able to throw and give good feeds from every position. He did all he could.
So 2 gone with Prince Fielder coming up. Fielder got that base hit back through the middle that just got a little bit of Carnes in the first. It's a ball, no strikes. Well, here's a case. Carnes facing Fielder who hit a shot right back at him. And you face him again here a couple innings later and just try to shove that thought from your mind.
Yeah, and you know how you do that? By doing that right there. Fastballs in, soft stuff away. It's the fastball out over the plate, the fastball down and away that you got to worry about. So you stay soft away, hard in, and call it at bat. Self-preservation.
Andrus back in at first.
I'll tell you what happens in these situations is you actually get angry when this guy steps back in. Like, really? You're going to take my lower leg off? Now here it comes, and you really go after him hard. But he is staying hard in, which is good.
Yeah.
Just in case.
A ball, 2 strikes here. He got him. Foul tip strikeout. Hard breaking ball there. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. The Rays lead 1-0. Up and get a Rays flex pack. Select any 3, 6, or 9 games with no blackout dates. Get a Rays tumbler with each pack purchased. New this season, Rays members get half off parking when using the funds loaded to your raise card. So to get your flex pack and save up to 50% today, call 888-FAN-RAISE or visit raisebaseball.com. Jake Elmore fouls the fastball away. Bottom of the third underway. That's a strike. Two. Gallardo had a 1-2-3 first. DeJesus got him for the home run in the second inning. Elmore takes that one for a strike. Caught looking. First strikeout for the Texas right-hander.
That pitch initially, I think, to Jake Elmore and on TV, in live full speed, looked off the plate, but then look at that little bit of movement at the end. Takes it right to the outside corner, kind of locks up Jake Elmore. Great pitch there by Gallardo.
Rene Rivera. Upstairs, 1-0. Check on the curveball. Up 2 balls, no strikes. Popped up right side. Blanks is tracking it near the stands and had a little difficulty actually locating that and then where he was in relation to the stands. You could see him veer over there.
You know, Kyle Blanks in that situation, that's where as an infielder going after a pop-up, you can't drift. You've got to run to the spot. If he does that, this ball barely made it into the stands. And with his size and length, that could have been an easy play, but he was drifting, reading, and never got there.
Ground ball to third. Beltre down to pick it up and make the throw. Rivera's the second out. Two up, 2 down in the third. We go back around to the top of the order. Kevin Kiermaier up here. Ball, he takes it low. One.
Nice play there by Kiermaier. The foul ball off the bat, came back, and he was able to corral that. It's the games within the game.
Nice take there. Stayed wide. 2-1.
They were trying to do the reverse effect on Jake Elmore, where he was able to move the fastball back on. He was trying to cut that back door. Right, same thing.
On the second, Rosales makes the play. The Rays are 3 up, 3 down in the third. We're headed into the fourth. 1-0 Tampa Bay.
DeJesus home run. You just heard from Alex Cobb a minute ago with Dwayne and BA, and one guy he will be leaning on in terms of advice is his good buddy Matt Moore, who went through the same procedure a little more than a year ago, the Tommy John surgery. Moore, good news today, through another live BP session, 30 pitches in all, as he was pitching to both Tim Beckham and Brandon Guyer. And the good news for Matt Moore is the next 5 days he will throw another live BP as Nathan Carnes chases Adrian Beltre, decides not to be tagged, so Carnes flips it to James Loney for the first out. So guys, he will go another 5 days and then throw a live BP, and after that they determine whether or not he needs one more live BP, or could he go to the minors and start that rehab process. So there is a finish line closing in. They're saying June-ish right now for his return. We'll find out hopefully for sure before the All-Star break. The one thing he did mention, BA, and you can probably relate to this having gone through the same procedure in relating to what Alex Cobb's about to go through, he said the worst part is wearing the uniform, feeling like you're part of the team, but not really, because you're not going on the road trips. You're coming into a dark stadium and rehabbing when the team's out there playing games. Back to you guys.
Well, it will absolutely test your mettle, but the support system that is in place here is like none other than I've seen around. The teams that I've played on, teams that I've heard of, other players, friends that have had the same surgery. This is the closest knit group of starting pitchers that I've ever seen, and that has been through some turnover. You know, Shields and David Price and on down the line, and now with his good buddy, like Todd said, Matt Moore, that's gone through the same thing. And then you look at the training staff that's going to be helping him through this process. He is set up as best as he possibly could be. And while it's going to be extraordinarily difficult and lonely, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. And I guarantee you, when he puts that uniform back on again and is out on the mound, you talk about appreciation of what you get to do, it'll be there.
3-1 pitch to blank, skied to shallow right. Well, what you just cited there, I think, not completely unique, because it'd be the only time it ever happened, but it's pretty uncommon, and it's really a great phenomenon that we've seen here with this pitching staff, as you pointed out, through turnover. That pass it on, carry it forward. That's something that you used to, I think, see a lot in the game and maybe society at large, but in this game you would see that. And with this pitching staff, through the turnover now, and you go back to the Shields days and then the Price days, and then Price and his influence on Archer and Cobb and Matt Moore, all of these guys have benefited from that. Boy, if you can start that culture in your organization and keep that going, how valuable that is.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was fortunate enough to play on a number of different teams over 13 seasons, and never was part of a staff like that. Never. There was nothing like it. I mean, you watch these guys, and you have that, man, I wish I could have pitched with this group, because they really are genuinely involved in, watch. I've never seen, when have you ever heard of a guy going out to throw a bullpen at 3:15 and you've got 2 or 3 other starters out there just watching the bullpen?
Yeah,
that does not happen.
No, I mean, you played this game. You've been around a long time. I've been around a long time. I don't know that I've ever witnessed that.
No, it really is something special here.
There's strike 3 call. Figueroa caught looking. Strikeout number 5, or is that 6? 6. batter's box facing Gallardo, Yahani Gallardo, 29-year-old righty in tonight's game and all season long. Tires Plus donating $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. And the first pitch is a strike.
I see what you were doing there with the read, and I like it. I like your thinking, very progressive thinking. You're saying to yourself, I'm going to be mid-read when Souza launches, because we all know he's swinging at the first pitch, and he took it.
You take your chances.
I like it. Playing the odds.
0-2 the count. And that is a strike on that corner again that came back.
And it's starting to lengthen a little bit. You know, you continually hit your spots and maybe you get one. Let's take a look, D-Wayne.
Look at those two off the corner. But he's got Paul Nart thinking about that with a couple that did come back. So Gallardo gets a couple calls in that sequence.
It doesn't hurt that a rookie is standing at the plate also, as much as that will be.
Yeah, no respect for the rookies. 1-0 the count on James Loney. He tries the other corner there and it just missed.
I was part of a game where we had a call up, and this was when I was a rookie with the Angels, and the kid came up and he threw a fastball in, came in high, hit the home plate umpire in the mask, who shall remain nameless, and he walked out from behind his little stance, came out in front of the mound, pulled a ball out of the ball bag, rolled it to the pitcher, settled back in. They had to pull the kid. He walked the yard. Walked the yard.
I think I know that umpire.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I think I've done dinners with him. It's a pop foul. And Corporan, the catcher, takes care of that. 2 gone here in the fourth. With Evan Longoria due up. Let's check in with Emily Austin. Emily, how are you?
Dwayne, I'm doing great. Hope you guys are doing well up there in the booth. I talked to Evan Longoria before the game. Remember, entering last night's game, he held 2 of the longest active streaks in the MLB, with games started 198 and consecutive games played 270. When I was talking to him before the game, he said he always took pride in playing every single game. Missing just last night made him realize how much he missed being out there. But then, guys, he said once he looked at Cal Ripken Jr.'s record or streak, I think he had a little bit to go. 270, 2,632. A little bit of a difference. Would you guys say?
Yeah, just a little bit. And I'll tell you, B.A., you and I were talking about that a little before the game. I mean, Evan, obviously, he takes pride in playing every day. But, and it took the flu to get him out of the lineup. But it's not a bad thing once in a while to take that time and take a day or two off.
Recharge the batteries. You know, this is a guy that not only is he out there every day, early work, early batting practice, he's almost always a part of, always taking ground balls down at third base. I mean, he works at his craft as hard as anybody in this game. So almost a forced day off, you know, for Evan, because listen, flu or not, you know, he'd want a pinch hit at bat, you know, in the ninth inning, something. But he just was in bad shape. Said, you know, you wouldn't be able to tell me from my uniform the way that he looked yesterday. And of course, that wasn't going to keep him down too long. Right back out in the lineup tonight. But I agree with you. With that time off, keep him fresh.
Yeah, it gets to be a long season, and he's got to be the guy in the middle of this lineup to be productive. 2-2 breaking ball misses. So it's a full count. You know, that argument was used when Ripken was on his way to just that unreachable streak that he put together. And people debated that. Would his numbers have been better had he taken a day off or two? Well, logic tells you yes. But a cut and a miss. Longoria is out on strikes. 1-0 Tampa Bay. Nice cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Well, the Texas offense has come to life in their 4-game winning streak, hitting .273 and averaging 6.3 runs a game. Nobody does that anymore, it seems.
No.
6.3 runs a game, and they're getting pretty good pitching on top of that.
Well, your starters can set the tone with that ERA of under 2.
Carlos Corporan takes the pitch for a ball. Through 4 innings tonight, Carnes has held his team to 1 hit, a couple of walks, and 6 strikeouts now for Carnes. 2-0. Quickly falls behind 3-0. He got ahead of Corporan in the 2nd inning and struck him out swinging. Finds the zone. Take there, makes it 3-1. Adam Rosales on deck. That's a strike. And the count is full.
You mentioned this Texas Ranger offense the last 4 games. What is it going to look like when Josh Hamilton finally arrives? And he's getting ready to start a rehab assignment in AAA. So you wonder how far away he is.
Corporan out on strikes. Number 7 for Carnes, who comes back to get him.
How about that? Nathan Carnes at times will be so dominant, and then all of a sudden a hitter or two, everything kind of goes away from him. Well, here he starts out Corporan 3-0 and comes right back and just powers this fastball to a spot away and picks up that strikeout.
Great shift for Rosales, who had a fly ball to center his first time. And an opening strike with a fastball. Foul straight back. The play, and the count is 0-2. Rosales swinging at that curveball in the dirt, thrown out. 2 up, 2 down. It's a good night for Nathan Carnes.
Well, it really has, and it's been again the fastball and the curveball. But I'll tell you what, he's moved the ball around the zone. He's been able to right himself when he's gotten a little wobbly mechanically, and that curveball has put away a number of guys in the zone, out of the zone. I'll tell you, he's feeling confident. We showed those numbers from his last 2 starts, and I really think that last start against Baltimore, in that 4th inning with 2 runners aboard, and that battle that he had with Delman Young, got the comebacker to end the 4th. You can see how pumped he was coming off the field. Goes out for the 5th, striking out 2. Could have been.
Look out up the middle and threw into center, ducking that one. The duck comes generally when the ball is already passed.
Yes.
But you have to duck nevertheless. DeShields has a base hit.
It's that fastball down in a way that becomes dangerous. Guys trying to use the middle of the field, and he's had a couple of close calls here tonight. And look for DeShields to go. 3 stolen bases last night.
6 of 6 on the year.
Got a matter of time. Big lead.
He's gone. Throw down. Skips away. Will be backed up by Beckham and a stolen base for DeShields.
Tell you, you knew he was going to go. Nathan Karns knew that he was going to go at some point. He goes on the first pitch, and this turns out to be almost a pitch out. But a great jump by DeShields. Rene Rivera up with the throw, just a little bit low. It would have been close. But I'll tell you what, this guy's got speed to burn. They had a chance to get him with the throw on the money, but because of the jump, because of the speed, that causes Rivera to rush the throw.
Two and 0. Two strikeouts in this inning, 8 in the game, which equals Karns' career high. He had 8 against the Blue Jays last September. 2-1 on CHOO, facing him for the 3rd time tonight. CHOO with a strikeout and a walk on the evening. It's 2-2 for the Rangers to have the kind of year that they would hope to have. CHOO and ANDRUS are going to have to hit and play well. And going forward, they have combined contracts. They have about $250 million tied up in these two players, CHOO and ANDRUS.
And what is this, year 2 of CHOO's deal? Yep. And ANDRUS is just starting his.
That's right.
It's a long time and a lot of dough.
Down and in, and a nice pickup by Rivera. Count is full.
You see Rivera anticipating that fastball going to be away, and it was yanked down and in by Karns. Nice backhand.
Full count to CHOO with DeShields at second. He got him, struck him out with a fastball. 3 more strikeouts in the inning. A career high 9 for Karns through the front 5. Headed into the Rays half of the inning, and the Rays lead 1-0. Nathan Karns tonight through the front 5. Rays and Karns have a 1-0 lead. David DeJesus providing that lead with a home run in the second. First pitch for a strike. Here's a look at that home run.
You're going to come in on a left-handed hitter. You want that pitch to be up near the hands. Down, dangerous.
One and one. DeJesus hit the ball pretty well, but he was taking nothing for granted. I mean, he was sprinting out of the batter's box in case that ball hit off the wall somewhere, and he got it over. Lifts this one into left, and that is out number one. Follow the Rays all season this year in 2015 with the MLB.com at bat. Number one app for live baseball. That bat is up to the moment. At any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, and more, get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Tim Beckham getting a start at second base tonight. He's grounded out to second in his only at-bat of the evening. Ball one is low. He's facing 29-year-old right-hander Giovanni Gallardo, coming over from Milwaukee. Gallardo, a big part of that Brewers starting rotation for the last half dozen seasons or so. Two and one to Beckham.
Well, that's one of those pitches. Do you call it a cutter? Do you call it a slider? Is it a cutter with a little bit of depth, or is it just a hard, short slider? And that's what he will do. Sometimes keep that same plane, sometimes give that pitch a little bit of depth. Either way, you can't argue with its effectiveness. Because when you start thinking about a guy throwing his fastball in that 89 to 91 range to then have a slider at 88, it's a cutter with some depth. You know, I mean, you call it whatever you want, but he puts it to use.
Beckham is 2-2 with him, and now full count. Fastball is outside. That might have been a little cut itself. A little cut fastball. And he cut it right off the plate.
Well, Tim Beckham able to take it. Even more impressive. This is a pretty tough pitch here. Yeah, that ball's cutting away. That's a good pitch. Did you see where Paul Nauert was set up? He was set up over on the third base side looking out. That's a bad angle from where he was set up to where that pitch ended up, and even though it looked to be right on the corner, a tough call for Paul.
Rays get a base runner on the one-out walk. Now Cabrera. Beckham leaning, starts and stops off first, and the pitch is a strike. Gallardo a little quicker to the plate with a strike that time on a fastball. Look at that. Now we're all even in the last two pitches. And strike two.
Yeah, that was off the plate too. But you know what? You got Carlos Corporan set up off the plate, and Gallardo is splitting him right down the middle. And again, Paul Nauert is over behind Cabrera, so he's looking at it at a bad angle. These pitches away, he's set up in. Get a good look at this one.
It's lifted toward right for CHOO. Two gone. So it continues to be a challenge now for Cabrera.
You know, a hitter that's struggling will say, you know, it feels like every time I go to the plate, it's 0-2. And it was right there. None of his fault. Should have been 2-0 with a good pitch to hit. And instead, it's 0-2, and he's got to go after a tough pitch that broke in on him late.
Jake Elmore. Elmore called out on strikes. His last time up there was in the lineup last night and had a couple of hits. A double and a single, scored a run, drove home a run. Outside 1-0. Runner goes. The pitch is a ball low. The throw will not be in time. He got in there head first. Rosales had to reach for the throw. And BECKHAM has his second steal.
Well, this is why you put pressure on the defense. 2 outs, time to go. There goes BECKHAM. Here comes the throw from CORPORAN. It's going to sail a little bit. Rosales has to reach back, catch it, make a long tag. And all of that allows BECKHAM to get in there safely. Now the Rays are runner in scoring position here in 2 outs.
Elmore way up into count, 3-0.
You know, we talk an awful lot about the timing of that play as far as what is your time after your lead to be able to get down to second base, pitcher's release time, catcher's release time. But the throw still has to be on the money or all that math goes out the window.
There's ball 4. A couple of walks here in the 5th inning. Capture your favorite Mother's Day moment at Tropicana Field with the Rays Shared Moments picture frame. Come out Sunday, May 10th, when the Rays take on the Rangers, and all women receive the picture frame while supplies last. For tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. That's a good time of the old ballpark right there. Two men on with 2 men out. Now Rene Rivera. He's got a run in the second on the home run by David DeJesus. Rivera taps it foul. Opening breaking ball. Skied to center. The Shields makes the catch. 2 walks, 2 left, no runs. We go to the 6th. 1-0 Rays. provided by David DeJesus on a 2-1 pitch in the second inning, belting his second home run. And Nathan Carnes, through 5 innings, has shut out Texas on 2 hits and has struck out a career-high 9.
Well, he came in 3rd in the American League, and that batting average against of 181. It continues to fall. And that just shows you what this guy is capable of. If he can stay away from the walks, he's going to walk a couple of guys to start. You can live with that. If he can stay away from those starts with 4 or 5 walks, I'll tell you what, he's going to be tough to beat.
There's Elvis Andrus. And the pitch is a strike, a breaking ball to start him, and he found the zone with it. Roller to the shortstop, Cabrera, who throws out Andrus. 1 away in the 6th.
When you figure with the outings like this too, that where he's thrown the ball, just giving up 1 earned run his last 2 starts, but it only covered 9 2/3 innings, and he's itching to get deeper into a game. Now he's getting that opportunity in a tight game. The confidence will just continue to grow, not only in the ability to get outs, but the ability to have quality deep outings. Young
Facing
pitcher,
a tough hitter here in Prince Fielder.
absolutely.
3rd time around. One and 0 the count. Fly ball into center. Kiermaier makes the catch. Big out to get Fielder. Well, let's see who the 4 players best representing the history of the Rays might be. And who are the 4 greatest living Major League Baseball players? Well, go to MLB.com/franchise4 to cast your ballots. Winners revealed during the All-Star Game July 14th on Fox. If you're inclined to vote for the Mount Rushmore of the Rays baseball history, tonight is your last opportunity to do that. It ends tonight, that voting.
When do the results, when do they come in?
Well, they're going to be announced at the All-Star game. Cabrera throws out Beltre. A 1-2-3-6 for Carnes, who has shut out Texas on 2 hits so far. 9 strikeouts, 2 walks to go with that. A good night for Carnes. Look at Nathan Carnes and the Rays dugout. A great job tonight with the Rays holding a slim 1-0 margin right now. Kevin Kiermaier leads it off. 1-0 the count to Kevin. Pitch upstairs, 2-0. Now Kiermaier's up in the count, looking for his first hit. And a cut there and a miss, 2-1. For Carnes, 6 shutout innings tonight, and if you now calculate his earned run average minus the first 2 innings of the year, it's 2.17.
Earning the trust of his manager and his pitching coach. You know, with all the injuries in spring training, Nate Carnes, he was going down to spring training with the idea of winning a spot, hopefully winning that 5th spot. He starts the 2nd game of the season. And I'll tell you what, after those first 2 innings with those kind of numbers, opening some eyes, that's for sure.
He's made 93 pitches tonight. Well, the Rays trying to get him some more runs. 2-2 on Kiermaier. On deck, SHIN-SOO Jr. Rays trailing the Yankees by 3 in the East, running second. New York with a 5-1 lead at home in the top of the 5th over Baltimore. Kiermaier continues to battle Gallardo. This next pitch will be the 8th of this at bat. Ground ball shortstop. Bobble for a moment, and Kiermaier is aboard. No margin for error with Kiermaier going down the line.
And that's what he does. You know, it may not come out once a week, twice a month. The pressure that he puts on an opposing defense eventually will pay off. And this is a ground ball to shortstop. Elvis Andrus, we talked about his error issues in last night's game. 7 already, may get another one here. But that bobble right there cost him.
25 errors committed by Texas so far. And an error charged on that one gives Kiermaier the base. Here's Steven Souza Jr.
Well, you just know that you don't have time. You don't have the luxury of setting your feet, getting around the baseball with maybe another hitter. You know that you've got to get it and get rid of it right now.
Chop to third. Beltre, sidearm, perfect peg to second, but safe at first. The ball not hit overly hard to begin with, and a tough angle for Beltre. So Kiermaier's forced.
And Adam Rosales, be thankful that Kevin Kiermaier is not a dirty player, because he could have absolutely wrecked him out at second base as quick as he got. He gets in there. I mean, if he could have that's a good hard slide to break up a potential double play. But if he wanted to, he could have snapped them pretty good.
Souza Jr. aboard on the fielder's choice for James Loney. First pitch is a strike. Take a look at our Toyota trend. Speaking of defense, you can see the contrast here in errors. Second most for Texas. The Rays have committed 10, the fewest in the American League.
Well, if you count that error against ANDRUS with the way that the Texas infield was put into place last night, that would give them 19 errors on their infield.
of the 25 total.
Yeah, well, and almost double what the Rays have.
Base hit the other way. Souza stops at second, and Loney is aboard. And the Rays with a couple men on base. First time that's happened, with the exception of the 2 walks in the 5th. Loney finds the hole on the left side.
Supposed to be a cutter in. It doesn't quite get there. Loney pulls his hand through, stays inside the baseball. Shockingly, he uses the other part of the field.
Well, the conference on the mound. Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, out with the Texas battery, and the Texas bullpen starts to get busy.
Well, I'll tell you what they're going to try and do here is they're going to try to work that cutter slider hybrid down and away from Evan Longoria and hope for a ground ball double play. That just would be the way that they will try and go about their business.
You saw that bullpen. Anthony Bass, who was up a couple times last night, did not get into the game. He was up again tonight, and the left-hander Alex Claudio, who did get into the game last night and who picked up his first big league win, is throwing as well. Now Evan Longoria, 2 on, 1 out. Evan searching for his first hit of the night. It's outside. 1-0. Rays with a chance to expand this 1-run lead. Steve Geltz up in the bullpen. Two and 0. Souza at second, Loney at first. And that's ball 3 to Longoria. See how Texas is approaching Evan.
Well, it's been nothing but fastballs down and away and just trying to make the perfect pitch each and every time. Good takes by Evan. And you know he's got the green light here.
3-1.
Don't throw that one again.
Look at that.
Actually, do throw that again.
Yeah.
You know the kind of reaction that you'll get. Evan will be coming unglued.
Foul ball off the fastball. And the count is full.
Well, 5 straight heaters here by Gallardo. Does he stick with it? Does he go to the cutter?
Well, he's got DeJesus on deck. They have the lefty in the bullpen. So this could be a big pitch in more ways than one for Gallardo. Runners go, and the pitch, base hit into right. Souza's going to score. Into third goes Loney, and the Rays pick up another run. It's 2-0. Longoria took the fastball into right.
Evan Longoria is too good of a hitter, too accomplished of a hitter to get out with that kind of sequencing. 6 straight fastballs. If they're 99, okay. But 6 straight. Look at how he leans out over the plate, anticipating just that, and just shoots this ball out into right field. That was not a smart way of going to try to get Evan Longoria out in that at-bat. It cost Gallardo, and the Rays capitalized.
That is the end of the trail for Gallardo. Back in a moment. Sports 1 returns with a doubleheader of divisional rivalries, beginning with the Royals taking on the Tigers. Then the Braves square off against the Nationals. Coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on your home for baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Left-hander Alex Claudio, the new pitcher, with the lefty in. Geyer will pinch hit for DeJesus. Brandon Geyer is after the first one and hits it a long way into left center field. That ball is gone. Home run for Geyer. Geyer jumped on the first pitch fastball, pitch hitting, and belts a 3-run shot.
Alex Claudio wants to get ahead of you with the fastball and then try to close you out with those back foot breaking balls. Brandon Geyer all over that scouting report and absolutely gets into that one. Blows this game wide open.
Claudio's evening is finished. One pitch. Back in a moment. Bank United. Bank United offers a variety of checking, savings, and money market accounts. Visit any Tampa location to open your account today. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Courtesy Toyota. You'll love what we do for you. Anthony Bass is the new pitcher, right-hander out there. And the slider into Tim Beckham is a ball. 1-0. Rays now with a 5-0 lead on the first career pinch hit home run by Brandon Geyer. 1-1. Geyer, by the way, this year is now 3 for 8 as a pinch hitter with 5 runs batted in coming off the bench.
I'll tell you, the Rays as a whole off the bench have been outstanding. They give you a real chance. And from a lot of guys who don't have a whole lot of experience doing that.
Ground ball to third. Beltre's throw retires Beckham. Well, the Rays get 4 runs off Gallardo. 3 earned in the 5 1/3 he worked. Gave up 3 hits and 2 walks. One of the hits a home run. Claudio came on, made 1 pitch, gave up the home run. And now Anthony Bass. The error Elmore by ANDRUS started the inning, putting that leadoff man on. Asdrubal Cabrera takes ball one off speed. Fly ball shot deep to center field. That's got some carry and will one hop the wall. Cabrera's on his way to second with a double. It's his fourth double this year.
The delivery by Bass, you can see Cabrera leans out over the plate, able to pick that pitch off the outer half and drive it right center field, one hop right off the top of the wall. The Rays have really opened things up here in the 6th inning. Long inning for Ranger pitching. Long inning for that man right there, Mr. Bannister.
Jake Elmore. The slider in at 84, strike one. Two. Fouled away, ball moving away. He's got a run in the second on the DeJesus home run. We have 4 runs here in the 6th, 3 coming on a pinch hit home run by Brandon Guyer. Elmore out on strikes. So the Rays send 8 men to the plate. They score 4, 3 on one swing of the bat by Brandon Guyer. Here comes his second home run of the year. And through 6, the Rays lead 5-0. Five 5-0 Rays lead. Brandon Guyer stays on to play left. Game 3 of the series tomorrow. And here's what's coming up on Rays Live, the pregame show. Presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We will be hearing from Jake Odorizzi, who's going to make the start. And the rest of us will break down Logan Forsythe, who coming into today was the only player to have been in every Rays game so far this year and not in the lineup tonight. Nathan Carnes back out to the mound, and his first pitch is a strike call to Kyle Blanks.
Getting the opportunity to go out there into the 7th inning. Got a 5-run lead to work with.
1-1. Kyle Blanks. Where's number 88? Well, he's tall enough to be a tight end.
I'd go to him in the red zone.
1-2 now. Pimentel up in the bullpen. Upstairs. 2-2. .108 pitches, the single game season high for Carnes. He's at 97 right now. Foul out of play, and that makes it 98. He is 2-2 with Blanks. Pagaro on deck, and then Corporan due. Nine strikeouts, 2 walks.
How about 10 on a hook?
Here you go. A little tapper foul. Well, he's thinking that curveball, and Blanks just tapped it foul. Carnes made 108 pitches against Boston in a 6-inning outing on the 22nd of April. Blanks using up some pitches here with this at bat. He also had a 106 pitch outing in 7 innings against the Marlins in Miami. And the Rays won 8-5, and he gave up 2 runs in 7 innings. Now it's a full count. High fly ball to left, and Geyer is under this one waiting. 1 away. So an extended at bat right there. 10 pitches. And he got his man on a fly ball to left field.
Yeah, at the very least, it ended the right way. Those can be frustrating at bats to battle through, but when you get them, so rewarding. The alternative, very deflating.
Carlos Pagaro. Too low. Breaking ball, 1-0. Toward the middle. Cabrera's there, and the throw to first. 2 outs. Well, that one a little quicker. Carnes' career high in pitches in an outing is 114. That came last year against the Toronto Blue Jays, and right now he's at 105. Texas catcher Carlos Corporan. A couple of strikeouts tonight. First pitch is a strike call. Tapper first base side will be fair. First base unassisted, and 1, 2, 3. Texas out in order. 5-0 Rays. The 7th, and here is tonight's great moment in Rays history presented by Geico. It was on this day last season. Brad Boxberger replacing David Price in the 6th inning with the bases loaded and no outs, and proceeded to strike out the next 3 Oriole hitters on 9 pitches. Seven innings of work tonight for Nathan Carnes, up to 107 pitches. Today Rivera is going to lead off. Stormy Pimenta is in the game. And Pimentel's first pitch is a slider, and he missed with it. Bass worked 2/3 of an inning. That one ran away from Rivera. One and two. Rivera's out on strikes. One away here in the 7th.
Stormy Pimentel showing some nasty stuff here coming out of the pen. Good sink on the fastball. The slider sweeping. This is a bullpen that overall has really struggled for the Rangers this year.
The top side of the order for the Rays, Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier started the 4-run 6th when he reached on the error. Two and 0. Latest on the Boston-Toronto game in Toronto. It's still 4-0 in the top of the 8th. It's popped up. Foul ball. Beltre after it, makes the catch. 2 outs in the 7th.
Right fielder, number 20, Steven Souza Jr.
Well, Steven Souza Jr. will bat. So the Blue Jays lead the Red Sox, and the Orioles are batting in the 6th, trailing the Yankees in New York 5-2. Ryan McCann has hit his 3rd home run of the year in that game. Strike one. Souza chasing that slider. 2. Ball, 2 strikes. Rays get a big pinch hit home run from Brandon Guyer tonight. You look at the bench beyond just the pinch hits, but the guys who come in off the bench and what they do. How about these numbers? The Rays are getting a .373 batting average collectively from the guys off the bench. Souza Jr.'s out on strikes. 1, 2, 3. Go the Rays. More on that in a moment. 5-0. Adam Rosales taking the first pitch up and in. That's pitch number 108. Equals the season's high for Nathan Carnes. There's a foul ball straight back and just into the upper deck. Counts 1-1.
Well, he wanted to get deeper into games. This
Well,
is pretty deep into a game.
It's a strikeout after 5 the last time, and he and Kevin Cash met, and Carnes said, hey, that's the game plan, fine with him.
Oh, I thought he said, here's what I want you to do. Take my pitches from the last 2 starts, add them together, and that's how many I want tonight. Because that's about what he's approaching.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he's throwing the ball great. And you're right, he's had a great attitude. You know that he doesn't agree with the decision. He wants to be out there. But he's saying, hey, listen, they got a plan. I'm going to go out and do what I'm supposed to do. Team player.
2-2 now to Rosales.
Every guy wants to do more. Every guy thinks that he can do more. But yet at the same time, submit to the authority above you and go out and do the best for as long as you're out there.
Got a look at Cedeno, the lefty, listening in the bullpen. And a fly ball back into left. Geyer to the wall. He's going to leap, and that one's going to get out of here. Rosales, who takes very little time in rounding the bases on home runs, is already halfway between third and home after hitting that one out, his second home run of the year.
Number 7, the line of Shields.
So Texas is on the board. That makes it 5-1.
Well, that pitch up around the letters, and Rosales off to the races.
We saw him do that when he was with Oakland. With a strike to DeShields. Down at the knees for strike 2. 115 pitches, and that's a career high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. SHIN-SOO, left-handed hitter on deck. Ground ball headed into center field. A breaking ball there to DeShields. And so here we are in the 8th inning with a home run and a base hit. And that's going to be it. So a very good night for Nathan Carnes. Kevin Cash comes out to get him, and Carnes gets a good hand as he departs. 117 pitches, a career high, and a great job tonight by the 27-year-old right-hander out of Texas Tech. 9 strikeouts. That's a career high. 7 innings, 7+ tonight. That's a career high. So he leaves with a 5-1 lead, a man at first and nobody out. Xavier Cedeno on to face CHOO. Kevin Jepsen is up in the bullpen. First pitch, curveball that stays in. CHOO turning his back on that pitch. One and one. It's Jepsen up in the bullpen. Liner into center. There's a base hit. The Rangers have 3 consecutive hits with DeShields stopping at second. CHOO is aboard.
Let's go back and revisit some of that work that Nathan Karns did tonight that was so very impressive. I'll tell you, he just made his way through this Texas Ranger lineup time and again, showing that good fastball to both sides of the plate. Curveball was good. He mixed in a few changeups, but I'll tell you, he stayed in attack mode all night long in a very successful outing for Nathan Karns.
Elvis Andrus pushes a bunt. He gets it by the pitcher, and the bases are going to be loaded. Andrus bunts his way on, and suddenly Texas with the bases loaded and nobody out in the 8th.
Yeah, let's stop messing around here now. This has gotten serious in quite a hurry, this Ranger lineup, and Andrus with a great job of pushing this bunt past Cedeno. Right there, he's able to get it by the pitcher. Loney forced to field it. There is absolutely no play to be made. And able to stay in the batter's box, too. That's the other part of that.
Jim Hickey talks it over on the hill. Prince Fielder will be the hitter representing the potential tying run.
Yeah, this is not going to be easy for the Rays pitching staff. Fielder, and then of course you have BELTRE behind him. Jim Hickey staying out there as long as he possibly can to get Kevin Jepsen more work down in the bullpen.
So it's Fielder and Cedeno matched up. The lefty on the lefty. And ball 1. Cedeno was in the game Wednesday in Boston, a third of an inning. That's a strike. Curveball, and it's 1-1. We've seen a lot of the curveball from Cedeno.
And he's got a good one too. It really sweeps that pitch away from the left-handed hitter.
Pretty close there. He did not offer, says Dana DeMuth.
You could have.
2-1. That will be foul, headed for the stands. Elmore chases it just in case. The count is 2-2. Texas now with one more hit than the Rays on the night. Loading the bases in the 8th. Fielder fouls another one out of play down the left side. The 2-2. He got it. Struck him out. 2-2 curveball, and Fielder is out on strikes.
Well, another breaking ball, and he really jumped on this one, kept it down in the zone. You see Fielder trying to lengthen that swing to get down to it. And he comes up empty.
Rays will make another pitching change with the right-handed bat of BELTRE due up. Brought to you by Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com and buy your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Cedeno gets a big strikeout of Fielders. The Rays try to wade through the middle part of the Texas lineup. And Kevin Jepson gets the call to face Adrian Beltre. And hold on to your seats. See the numbers on Jepson making his 13th appearance in the head-to-head matchup. There's been a lot of them between Beltre and Jepson. And the pitch is foul, out of play, an opening fastball, strike one. Beltre, look at this, 7 of 16 against Jepson with a home run and 2 doubles. There's also 3 walks in that mix. Big job for Jepson against Beltre. Fly ball back into center field. Kiermaier to the track makes the catch. Tag at third. DeShields will score. Runners advance. There's a play at second. And the call safe down there. That run is charged to Carnes, and it's now 5-2.
Well, Kiermaier getting rid of this ball quickly, trying to make a play. And ANDRUS able to get in there ahead of the tag. Well, this becomes a huge at-bat here. 2 runners in scoring position, a 3-run lead, 2 outs.
Kyle Blanks 0 for 3 tonight, and 2 men in scoring position. upstairs. Blanks, you'll recall, had that extended at bat against Carnes in the 7th inning, a 10-pitch at bat. Carnes finally got him on a fly ball to left. Fouled back. Fastball. And it's 1-1. We saw Sean Tollison for an inning last night. He's up again in the Texas bullpen. Two balls and a strike. Rivera shifting to stay in front of the curveball. Blanks 0 for 1 in his career against Jepson. That was a strikeout. Rays will take any kind of out right here with 2 men in scoring position. It's foul back. Another fastball. 2-2.
Jepson, it's that mid-90s fastball to go along with the curveball. Either one, he does not give you a whole lot of time to make a decision. You got to be ready to go. He needs to make one more big pitch against Blanks right now.
Oh, very close on the breaking ball. Well, we went through that in Boston. And the count is full. Another look at the curveball.
Well, this is where Kyle Blanks benefits from being 6'5". That ball caught down near the dirt. More impressed with the fact that he didn't swing at it.
3-2. And he bounces this one foul. He took some pretty good pitches in the at bat in the 7th against Carnes. Fouled off a number. Full count again here in the 8th against Jepson. And the curveball is up for ball 4. Bases are loaded again.
Now he's trying to keep this curveball in the strike zone. He ends up sweeping it off the plate.
Odor will run now at first for Blanks.
Attention please, number 12, Odor, pitch running at first.
So they're loaded again for Texas. And the Rangers have the left-handed bat of Carlos Pagaro up here. And that pitch is high. The 8th man to come to the plate in the 8th inning for Texas. It started on the Adam Rosales home run. Foul the other way. 1-1. The Rangers have scored 2. 4 hits and a walk in the inning. 2 outs, a 1-1 count on Pagaro. That's a strike. Fastball. He takes it. Moves the count to 1-2.
A couple of those fastballs that were called on as Drupal Cabrera off the plate away. Kevin Jepson going out there. Gets that call on Pagaro. Too close. Got to be ready to swing.
1-2. He got it. Or did he? Just a little piece of that one. Came in with a curveball, and Pagaro fouled it into the dirt.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Hey, got a tip of it. You're right. Right on top of it. Needed every bit of whatever that bat is, 34, 35 inches. Trying to lengthen everything out.
So Kevin Cash wanted a little clarification from Paul Nart there.
Yeah, in real time, it really looked like the pitch had dipped below the bat, but that good replay from center field, you could see that ball changing direction just a piece, ever so slightly.
So it's 1-2 again. The pitch fouled away, a fastball. CHOO at third. ANDRUS at second. Odor, the pinch runner, at first. And the 1-2 again. He got him that time. A cut and a miss. Bat winds up right behind him. He missed the fastball out on strikes. Texas leaves them loaded. They score 2, sending 8 men to the plate. And a mid-90s fastball ends the top of the inning. Of the 8th, our T-Mobile game changer. Nathan Carnes, last 3 starts, 16 2/3 innings, just 3 runs on 9 hits, and 18 strikeouts to go with 5 walks. A career high 117 pitch performance tonight for Nathan Carnes. And James Loney will open the bottom of the 8th. Rosales now playing first, and Odor in to play second. Rosales moving over from second. And there's ball 1 into Loney. Loney, then Longoria and Geyer due up for the Rays. Two 2-0. Stormy Pimentel still out there for Texas. It's Brad Boxberger up in the Rays bullpen. Loney fouls it away. It's 2-1. Rays with 5 runs on 5 hits. Texas 2 runs, 6 hits. That's a base hit for Loney, his second straight hit tonight. He is 2 for 4. Time to check in again with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, right after the game, it'll be our Rays Live post-game show presented by Checkers. Emily Austin will gather interviews in the Rays clubhouse. I'll be out in left field with the birthday boy Orestes Estrada. Should be interesting as well, listening to the comments of Kevin Cash. 2 completely different strategies the last 2 starts for Nathan Carnes. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, so stay with us for the Rays Live post-game presented by Checkers. Our extended coverage. Evan Longoria up here taking that slider. Runner at first, nobody out. Yankees batting in the bottom of the 7th, leading Baltimore. That's now a 1-run game, 5-4 New York. Strike to Evan, who singled in a run in the 4-run 6th for the Rays. Snap throw down to first to the foul side. And back in goes Loney safely. Coming with 3-2 and lined one into right.
6 straight fastballs. And he got wise to what was going on right there. Leaned out over the plate and popped that ball out into right field.
Foul ball outside of third. Takes the count to 2-2. Rays sent 8 men to the plate in the 6th and scored 4. Texas 8 men to the plate in the top of the 8th and they scored 2. Into center, that's going to drop. Loney goes to second and stops. Rays trying to put something together again in the 8th. 2 men on with nobody out. Longoria's second hit tonight. Brandon Geyer's due. Mike Maddox goes to the mound. Memento got the final. Got the set the Rays down in order in the 7th and touched for a couple of hits in the 8th. And there is Geyer's pinch hit home run in the 6th. Hitting for DeJesus, who had homered back in the 2nd. Geyer connecting off the left-hander Alex Claudio. Steve Geltz up alongside Boxberger in the Rays bullpen. Now Geyer's going to bunt, and he bunts it foul. Strike 1.
I'm trying to do the same thing that Elvis Andrus did. Push one out towards second base, get it by Pimentel. Force Adam Rosales to make a play. You see Odor out at second base deep. Well, there was room to push that bunt, try to get a hit.
2. Fastball into him. Close to Geyer, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. See another pitch on a 1-2 count. Geyer's made himself a handy man to have around. He can play any of the outfield spots. Some occasional pop, as we saw when he hit the pinch hit home run in the 6th. He can bunt. And he takes the pitch in. Runs some pretty good at bats, and every once in a while get hit by a pitch. Anything to get on is his mindset.
Anything for the team, coach. Well, he works on it. You know, you see him out there early, bunting, third base line, push bunts. Any little thing he can do to make himself more valuable, including work in the field.
Ground ball. Stopped by BELTRE in third. He'll go to first. Not in time. And the bases are loaded. The ball headed for the hole on the left side, and BELTRE could not get it over there in time. And the Rays load the bases with nobody out in their 8th.
It was indecision on what to do. He's going to leave his feet, which is going to make it tough to turn 2, but he looks at second first, and then by the time he recalibrates and goes over to first, Brandon Guyer, hustling out of the box, is able to beat it.
So Guyer gets another hit. The Rays have loaded the bases in the 8th. Texas pulling the infield up. And now Tim Beckham in the box. Inside. The Rays now with 8 hits. Center field. DeShields will go back to catch it. Loney back to tag. He will score. So the Rays get their 6th run on a sacrifice fly by Tim Beckham.
Get the ball elevated, get some high fives from his teammates as he gets that ball out there to center field, drives in another run, gives the Rays that grand slam cushion at 4. That's all you're trying to do. You know, Pimentel, they got good run on the fastball. He's trying to get you to hit a ground ball at the infield end. Get one out into the outfield and add on.
Spencer Patton down in the bullpen under the watchful eye of Andy Hawkins, the bullpen coach. Cabrera swings through it. A fastball. Boxberger has taken a seat in the Rays bullpen. Steve Geltz up alone. One and one.
Good eye.
Inside, 2 balls and a strike. Cabrera doubled in the 6th inning. 2-base hit to center. Rays with a run home in the 8th after a 4-run 6th. Three and one. Rays opened the scoring with the DeJesus home run back in the 2nd. Made it 5-0 with the 4-run 6. Rangers scored 2 in the top of the 8th. The Rays back with a run. In the bottom, Cabrera high pop foul. Corporan makes the grab near the on-deck circle for the 2nd out.
Third baseman,
Runner still at first and second. Longoria on second. Geyer at first. Jake Elmore, who has a walk and 2 strikeouts on the night. Strike the count. Two. Blue Jays have shut out the Red Sox 7-0. Sanchez the winner and Miley the loser. Upstairs.
Well, the pitching coach change in Boston has not yet taken effect.
Miley drops to 1-4 with a .691 earned run average. And Sanchez won his third. He's 3-2. Elmore trying to pick up another run. The Rays have a 4-run advantage. Liner into right. That's in there for a base hit. Longoria heads to the plate. The throw by CHOO. Not in time. It goes to the backstop. Here comes Geyer trying to score. That throw goes to the pitching mound. 2-run score. Elmore winds up at second.
Now the Rays taking advantage of a nice job by Jake Elmore down in the count to shoot that ball to right field, and then sloppy defense by the Rangers. Here's the breaking ball, goes the other way with it. Nice job, head down. Evan Longoria, there's going to be a play at the plate. CHOO with the throw, gets by. You can see Pimentel late getting there, and then Lazy going to get it, rushes the throw here. Corporan reaching for it. It got sloppy and ugly, and the Rays take full advantage.
So it's now 8-2. Base hit and a run batted in for Elmore. An error on CHOO on the throw. And now here's a ball that gets away, and over to third goes Elmore on the first pitch to Rivera.
Yeah, and of all the guys least likely to get an error on that play, it would have been CHOO.
Yep.
From what happened after he released the ball.
Rangers charged with 2 errors tonight. Rays now have 4 hits in this inning, and they built an 8-2 lead. Rivera takes a strike. It's 1-2. Four runs off Gallardo, 1 off Claudio, and 3 for the Rays here in the 8th. Two and two. Ground ball toward the hole. It's short. ANDRUS up with it, and his throw in time. Rays send 7 men to the plate, pick up 3 more, and lead 8-2. Rays lead 8-2. Moving on to the 9th inning here at Tropicana Field. As a result of that wild pitch, all of the runs turn out to be earned despite the Rangers throwing the ball around the infield and other parts of the playing field. And it's 8-2 as Steve Geltz enters the game to work the 9th inning. Carlos Corporan leads it off. One ball, no strikes. Fourth pitcher of the night, Geltz. And there's a strike. Geltz pitched an inning and 2/3 in Boston on Wednesday in the 5-3 win there. Well, 1-2. Geltz has done a little bit of everything for the Rays. Strikes out Corporan here to open the 9th inning.
That's how he's become to be affectionately known as the Swiss Army knife. He's very happy to be here. He will do anything to help this team out, pitch in any role, and often very successfully, as he picks up a strikeout right there. Just always answers the bell, always on the ready.
Been another big strikeout night for Rays pitching tonight. 12 tonight on the heels of 14 in last night's game. 1-1. New York batting in the bottom of the 8th, leading Baltimore 5-4. 1-2. Adam Rosales behind in the count. Rosales hit the home run in the 8th inning. It's actually a site that keeps tabs on how quickly hitters can run around the bases after hitting a home run. He had last been tracked at 17.56 seconds. We had him at 16.2 on that home run he hit, which would put him ahead of Billy Hamilton. Hamilton had circled the bases at 16.45 and Rosales at 16.2. I don't know if that time has been certified yet, but according to our truck, he made it around in 16.2 seconds.
Have to check the website either tomorrow, and if they don't update over the weekend, then you go on Monday. We'll have the answer for you.
To Kevin Kiermaier was third before Rosales hit that last one at 17.75. Everything Kiermaier does is fast. Two. Popper, short center. Beckham looking for it, backpedaling, and he's got it. He took a little look over his shoulder to see if Kiermaier was close and realized he was going to have to take that one. So 2 outs in the 9th. The hitter will be Delino DeShields. He's 2 for 3 tonight with a steal and a run scored. Which is a strike. It's in there. Leonis Martin has a sprained left wrist. And so DeShields has been in the first 2 games of this series. Geltz ahead of him 0-2. back. Carnes for 7+. A career high 117 pitches. A couple of runs allowed on 4 hits. Xavier Cedeno for a third. Kevin Jepson for 2/3. And now Jeltz, Steve Jeltz, trying to end it. Inside with a fastball. It's 1-2. Popper on the right side, shallow right. Souza in to make the catch, and the Rays win. A 1-2-3-9 for Geltz. The Rays take game 2 of this 4-game series, an 8-2 final. They scored a run in the second, 4 in the 6th, added 3 in the 8th, and win this one pulling away. And so they take the second game. Their series now even at a game apiece. Carnes will get the win. He is 2-1. Gallardo, the losing pitcher, now 2-5. 2 hours and 55 minutes to play this one. And here's the final out. Geltz retires the shield.
Well, he just comes in very efficiently, gets 3 quick outs here, and seals the victory for the Rays before knuckles with Rivera.
So the Rays capture their 16th win. They go to 16-14. And at the moment, they're 2.5 back in New York. The Yankees and the Orioles have yet to complete their game. Right now, let's go to the field and Todd Callis.
Dwayne, thanks. With Brandon Guyer, hit a 3-run pinch hit home run. There really was a big blow in this game. Brandon, first of all, you're facing a guy out of the bullpen, Alex Claudio. What are you going over with Derek Shelton? What are you looking for on that first pitch?
Right there, I'm just looking for a good pitch to hit. Just trying to have a good approach, be early, or get ready early, and not fall behind. Runner in scoring position. Just want to put the ball in play, preferably a fly ball there. And I hit the barrel, and thankfully it went out.
What, were you hunting a fastball there?
I was really just hunting something. Over the plate. Nothing specific, but because I know he throws a lot of soft stuff, so just trying to put the ball in play with authority, like I did, and I'm just really glad I could help the team win.
And then you come up the next time. You actually thought about a bunt there, end up getting the base hit, and then when you come around to score on that ball that got away from the play's right in front of you. What did it look like?
Yeah, I thought I was going to have it by a lot more. If he catches that ball, I'm probably out. But I'm just trying to be aggressive and force the issue. Thankfully he dropped the ball and we could get another run on the board. So it was just a great all-around team win, and none of it would have been possible without what Carnes did. So that was just great to watch, and really happy for him. Yeah,
you're watching this guy who wasn't even sure if he had a spot in the rotation starting spring training. Really seems to be maturing with every start this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's really good to see him go deep in the game like that, and we know he could do it, and he works so hard, and just really happy for him, and all-around good team win.
Nice job tonight coming off the bench, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
Well, a good night for the Rays. They score 8, win it 8-2. So the series even at a game apiece. It will be the same 2 teams tomorrow in Game 3 of this series. We'll be with you at 5:30 with our pregame coverage. Game 3 right here on Sun Sports. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, this is Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast. Rays are winners. Rays Live, the postgame. Part of our continuing coverage is next.